You've heard the term before, but what is a flowchart? In project management, a flowchart is a visual aid to understand the methodology you're using to manage the project. The diagram shows the interdependent and parallel processes over the course of the project's life cycle. Project managers use a flowchart to offer a clear picture of process and to find ways to improve project efficiency. A flowchart displays graphically the project's objective and seeks to more logically order the activities therein. But a flowchart can also help with monitoring progress and even status reporting. The project management flowchart is one of the many tools you need as a project manager to control the project. With the right project management software, your management can be even more productive and efficient. But before we get to that, let's look a little more closely at what a flowchart is outlining. What does a flowchart outline? First of all, a project management flowchart can outline whatever it is you want to outline. You can have one for the initiation process, for example, which would start with the initiation and flow to the project charter, its approval and whether that approval is given or not. That would then lead to two different streams. If the project charter isn't approved, you must either adjust or cancel the project, which leads back to the initiation at the top of the flowchart, or it terminates in project cancel. If the project charter is approved, then you can continue with the planning process. If you need help with your project charter, try our free project charter template. The planning process is more complex. It starts with planning, collecting requirements and the development of scope. That can go either to project level indicators or a project scorecard, both of which lead to the project plan. That plan, of course, leads to resources, budgets, schedules, etc. Each of those subsets leads to another point in the flow chart, such as the communications or risk plan, which in turn flows into the change control plan and quality management. Eventually you get to approval, which leads to the executing process, or no approval, sending you back to the beginning. Executing can be a whole other flowchart, leading to the development of the project team, securing resources for quality assurance, and the manner of communication. Distribution. Again, you either adjust, cancel or continue, and depending on which you choose, you're back at the beginning, canceling that phase or moving on to the next procedure. There is naturally a flowchart to note the monitoring and control processes of the project, which starts with monitoring and control and leads to an integrated change control plan. That leads to quality control, which flows into reporting risk and issues, and so forth. Even closing a project is a process, and therefore can be visualized in a flowchart. Start with the close of the project, and then the activities that flow from that, including the verification and acceptance of project deliverables and operations, and then the transition to what lessons you've learned. Then, you're ready to sign off. If you prefer, the whole project process can be captured in a project management flowchart that can be used in Congress with the others, or as a standalone visual. This macro flow chart would start with the whole project, leading from the project creation, documentation, task assignments, meetings, agendas, reports, etc. Each of these can lead to its own stream, such as project creation flows into monitoring the project status, while documentation leads to budget, schedule, etc. Why is a visual diagram to view process important? Visual diagrams are important because they aid in the understanding of complex systems, which helps you easily drive projects to successful ends. As noted, a flow chart is flexible and can suit your needs, whatever they might be. In fact, a flow chart can help you like your Gantt chart does by creating a visual that helps you see progress more quickly and intimately than a stack of documents can. The flow chart can assist in all manner of project processes, such as the planning of a new product, documenting that process and modeling the business process for the project. It can also help you manage workflow, data, the auditing process and anything else that is process-based. Then there are different types of flow charts that you can use to diagram your process. A basic flow chart is a simple diagram that represents a series or sequence of steps that involve decision. The swim lane flow chart breaks up the flow into columns, which is helpful for organizing activities into separate visual categories that illustrate different responsibilities or roles. Value stream mapping is a lean flow chart used to analyze and design the flow of materials and information at the System level, mostly used in manufacturing and product development. There are many more types of flow charts, but they all share certain elements, such as visualizing a process, to understand that process at a glance. Flowcharts offer the visual clarity you need to make multiple processes clear and easy to communicate. They can be used to replace meetings in many cases as they clarify process. A flowchart also sequences events to reduce the possibility of overtasking your team, which saves time and resources. This leads to increased efficiency and effective analysis, which makes for better problem solving. How do flowcharts differ from work breakdown structures? A work breakdown structure shows the tasks in a project. It is not good for showing process, like a project flowchart. A work breakdown structure is a hierarchical decomposition of the project scope that must be done by the project team to create the required deliverables. A project management flowchart is better equipped to handle project process. They better communicate the process to everyone involved in the project and can be more effective in analyzing problems. They also serve as a good source of documentation and guide through the project's process. Flowcharts even help in the debugging process and maintenance by placing effort where it's most needed and in a more efficient fashion. Work breakdown structures have their place in your project plan, but they are designed for a more specific task. The flow chart is a more flexible tool, but it is also an instrument for the overall process of the project as opposed to the individual tasks that make up the project. PM tools can help optimize your project workflow. Your project management flowchart is just a map, really, a guide to how you're going to proceed over the course of your project. To best implement it, you need the right tools. With the right PM software features, you're able to better plan, implement, monitor and close your project and follow the flowchart. For example, with a real-time dashboard you can track a project as it progresses through your planned flowchart. Your workflow can also be facilitated with task management software, which gives your team the power to see what tasks are due and when on their personal task list. Those tasks can be assigned over multiple projects, which you can monitor to make sure that work is progressing as planned. On your flowchart, flowcharts help you visualize the project, and project management software gives you the tools to take those visuals and execute them as planned. Use our sample project management flow chart as a template to start using flowcharts in your own projects.